So sorry, I'm a bit late. I've been ill. I'm still not 100%, but welcome. I don't know how you guys have been feeling. Have you been kind of feeling overwhelmed and burnt out, even if you're not doing much at the moment? How has it been for you guys? Oh, yeah. I just muted you. Cool. As you're all muted. Cool. So we are here to talk about the August energies and how that's showing up for us all this month. And for some reason, nothing's working here. But anyway, okay. So how have you all been feeling is what I was asking while people are still joining me. Have you been feeling overwhelmed, burnt out? Have you noticed you're feeling kind of a lack of clarity in what you're trying to do at the moment? Because that's what we talk about every month when I do these energy readings, is about how we can be more in alignment with our soul purpose. Yeah, so lots of arguments. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of arguments. I was going to talk about that today. So there's been some really, 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 really intense energies this month. And for some reason, we're still not working here. So give me a second just to get this to work. Okay, that's better. So if you are on live with me on YouTube, I need to find you guys and then we can chat on there too. Sorry, I'm not kind of with it today because I'm still not very well after having a bit of COVID over the last couple of weeks. But I wanted to show up now because I think it's really important to talk about the energies we're going to be talking about today. Well, and typically, there we are. Right, I believe the comments are up, but please do give me a hello on the comments just so I can make sure that I can see you guys on the other computer there. Right, fabulous. Okay, let's see where we're at. So we've been talking about feeling, is my sound playing up again? Is it better? Is my sound working now? Okay. Better now, yeah. So tech's been playing up a lot this week and lots of other aspects have been playing up. So I'm not surprised with everything that's going on at the moment. So welcome. This show is for you if you're really interested in finding out more about your soul purpose and understanding how the energies each month are impacting what we're here to do and who we're here to be. It's a kind of energetic roadmap to what I'm calling the quantum human. And they're kind of revelations to help you better navigate these energies so that you can become more of who you're meant to be. So typically today, it's one of those things where I don't think you can even see me. There we are, I'm back. It seems to be, my computer's like wobbling and all the cables are going. So hopefully you can see me now. So are you on a transformational journey of your own right now? Are you trying to step into something new? Have you noticed that there's this real push this month to really learn who you are and what you're here to do? Because the energies are coming up for the Lion's Gateway are really intense. And it feels like the biggest, like last month we talked about being pushed over a line. And it just feels like we're almost like up against a wall, being squashed right now until the wall breaks and we can get through the other side. So if this is the kind of experience that you've had, oh, somebody else had COVID too. Yes, it's stuck with me for about 3 weeks. So if this is the kind of journey that you're on and you want to understand the energies better, then you're in the right place. And I welcome you to join me today. So this is a combination of energy kind of recalibration through speaking the words I speak and the energy that I'm tuning into to share with you guys today. But also I'm going to be asking you questions to help you empower yourself so that you can tune in for yourself. You know, you don't have to believe what I say. It's about you tuning in for yourself and learning how to read these energies too. I'm a big believer in getting us all active in our own, responsible and sovereign then in our own journeys. So while I'm just checking everything now is finally working, I was going to ask you all a question just to get started. So when we ask questions, sometimes I ask questions you might not know the answer to. I do that on purpose because we prefer to try and tune into the heart and get an answer from the heart rather than letting the logical mind take over. And there's a reason to that today because the the challenge this month is getting past that logical mind that's been dictating your life up till now, so that we can get through the other side. And that's what the wall is representing at the moment. That wall that we're being squashed up against is actually ourselves, and it's our mind. So the question that I want you guys to think about, and this is a question, again, to empower you, to help you recalibrate and reforge yourself and release your full potential. So the answer doesn't really matter as such if you don't know it. Just give yourself some space and time to at least consider it. So get yourself a journal maybe, or a pen, so you can just write down some notes. And you can always share in the comments so that I can see what you're putting down, and then give some insights on that too. Because whether you're watching this now or on replay, it's going to be an energetic exchange as well as the words that I'm doing. I kind of like to think of these as mini workshops, even though it's a podcast. So the first thing I want you to do is to choose whether you wish to invite these energies into your body right now. If you've got any oracle cards, get those ready too. And for the next 45 minutes, I know I'm a bit late, we'll just explore the energies of this month. So hopefully you guys got some water as well. Get yourself all nice and comfy. Because the theme for today is, what is it going to take for you just to go for it? For you to step up and just do the things you're meant to do. And it's time to let that mind go. Just let everything your mind thinks go, and to concentrate on what your heart is telling you to go for. And this is going to lead into later on me talking about how imposter syndrome fits into this as well. So I'm kind of excited about that bit, because I had trying to think how to explain this. So I'm hoping my analogy helps. So I always have two groups with me tonight. I have a group on Zoom. You're always welcome to join me on the Zoom one, where after this live, we go and we dig deeper into questions and answers for what I've spoken about. So if you want to contact me on whitestarsoulguidance@gmail.com, then it's a first come, first serve basis. There's no price, just email me and you can get an invite to the after think tank, as I like to call it. So Marta's saying, yes, please, I want to know about imposter syndrome this morning. Yeah. So the question, hopefully you've got your pens and paper ready. The question I want you to think about now is, and this is your kind of your first quantum human question of the night, it's to do with transformation. And what do you think you need so that you can be ready? And I'm going to use the word transform at the moment, because that's the word we all know, but later I'm going to revise my use of that word. So what do you think you need so that you can transform into what you need to be so that you can just go for it? So before you answer the question, just take a few breaths, get yourself into your body, sink deeper into your body. And then what do you need to do? Like, what is the thing that's holding you back? What's stopping you from just going for it? Because in today's age, there's no subject that's taboo anymore. You know, we can talk about anything, we can be anything. So all some of the old constraints that stopped us doing certain things or being ourselves are gone. So what would you like to transform and change right now so that you can just wake up tomorrow and go for it? Well, definitely got the comments up here, which is good. So it might be a behavior, an identity, a personal narrative, or even a worldview narrative that the world is a horrible place to be, you know? What do you want to rescind right now? What's the first thing that comes into your head? I've got some answers coming in. I'll review those in a moment. I'll just give you a bit more time to think about it so that you can add them as you go. So if you don't actually know what, cool, yeah. Funny enough, I was just about to say, if you don't know what you want to let go of or what you want to rescind, then if you've got your oracle cards handy, then pull a card and see what that suggests. That thing that will help you be more bolder in the world. Interesting comments there. We'll talk about those in a moment. Cool. Everything's set up here. Okay, so what ingredients have we got to work with this month? So in this Quantum Human Revelations for August, this is for August, and it includes the second Capricorn full moon that we've just had as well. Capricorn is all about how we climb the mountain, how it's about us in terms of how easy we want to make life or how hard we want to make life. And we've had two Capricorn full moons, one after the other. So it's kind of like we've had a redo on the first attempt to be more unicorn is what we're after, basically, that lightness of being, that ability to just flow with life. But on top of the full moon and the August energies, we've also got Sirius gateway that opened in the middle of July. And this is getting to the point where Sirius has kind of gone behind our sun, and it's in the constellation of Leo. And this is a time of big spiritual upgrades. So it's kind of like pushing you even more, like I said, squashing you up against that wall. We've also had a ton of solar flares. I think we've had 29 in the last week. We're also got the impact of the solar flares, which is, for me, it feels like it's affecting us physically on a DNA level. It's almost like it's waking up our God instincts. And it's kind of no surprise. At the beginning of January, I started speaking about solar rise sparks, and I didn't expect solar flares, but it does make sense that that's how this information is coming in. So allow for the fact now that Sirius, our spiritual sun, is behind the real sun, and we're getting all of these solar flares coming through. It's kind of like there's more of a spiritual charge to it than usual. And we're also approaching the Lion Gateway, which is when all of this happens in the Leo constellation. And I always think of Leo as being our soul lesson about finding the courage to take the lead. And it doesn't mean leading others, it means taking the lead in our lives, taking up space, being big, being ourselves, being authentic, learning to let our personality serve our soul. So letting our soul take over the driving seat, and then putting the personality as the help to that. And what does this all mean then with these energies? Well, it just basically means that there's a lot of opportunities this month for us to get closer to our divine selves, to actually finding out who we really are. And, we're not talking just simply about personality traits. I'm talking about understanding our power, our light, our ability to make change on this planet, our soul's great vision, you could say, for what we're here to do as part of the divine plan, and how we, each of us, can make a difference on the planet in a small way or a big way, but it's a huge difference because we're meant to be here at this time to do this. So how can you navigate this path to success and help creating a new world? Well, that's the downloads we're going to be getting this month if you're willing to listen. So we're still experiencing these powerful energies, and I feel like for me, it's my nervous system has gone. I find like I'm fried. I'm a little bit shaky. I'm finding I am getting some downloads, and then I'm being completely switched off. I'm getting headaches. I'm got a ringing in my ears all the time. So I've spoken to some other people, and they're saying they're getting similar symptoms. So I don't know if you guys are feeling it to that level as well. So when I talk about these energies, obviously I can only show you the doorway or the entrance to these frequencies. At the end of the day, only you can walk in and see what they mean to you as part of your quest on your journey. This is for you to navigate and to explore. And that's why I say this is a kind of mini workshop. I'm just introducing you to the concepts for you to explore. So I've got some other people saying a bit shaky, fried today. Yeah. And a bit, some scary dreams. Yeah, I've had a lot of really weird dreams as well. So allow for the fact our physical body's being impacted. So do take some self-care, make sure you drink water, make time you go out in nature, and really get that ability to relax a little bit where you can squash it into even if it's just for a few seconds a day. These solar flares really do impact our physical body. The cosmic rays impact the neutrinos that come through our body every day. So don't underestimate the power of that and the impact. So do make sure you've got plenty of rest in your days. So I feel like I said, all of this is pushing us into it. The way it felt to me, and I know this is going to sound strange, but it felt like a part of me that had been part of me for a very long time was literally being kind of like on elastic bands pulled out of me. And it kind of went out and then it snapped back in again. And when it happened, I thought, that's a really weird sensation. And that kind of leads into the imposter syndrome that I'm going to talk about later. But I really felt it kind of come away and then come back. And when I asked what I needed to do to help this process, it just said we needed more of the energy of the lion gateway to come through. Before that, we'd get the solutions then for how we can finally do this breaking apart. So I don't know if anybody else has got that kind of symptom. That's a bit weird to ask if people have had that, but there's this real kind of, yeah, it's that kind of separating away from us kind of feeling. So everybody's still putting down what they'd like to let go of so they could become their bigger selves. That's cool. So for those that don't know me, I'm Trudy and I'm a soul purpose guide, and I help sensitive, empathic people to discover who they are and what they're here to do at this time. So everything I share is around that. No, it sounds cool. So I like to help people and guide you on your journey to self-discovery and back to courage and empowerment so that you can really find your true essence. And I call that kind of like your inner holy grail. And this is what I'm telling you this because this is coming up again for this imposter syndrome. And for me, this whole story kind of relates to the King Arthur story. And that kind of really sums up the experience that self-discovery could be for all of us right now. So I hope that what I'm sharing is going to give you some insights into that this month, because it really does feel like a big month. So if this is your first time watching, then do know that there are others like this that you can go back and watch and comment on. Each one is its own little mini journey into enlightenment and higher vibrations for you to listen to. And please do add comments and things, because I do get notified when people are commenting and I can come back and chat to you. And if you could, so please hit like and subscribe to my channel. It's this kind of information is quite hard. It doesn't want to get out there because I think it's quite powerful, but that's just my opinion. But if you guys could share it with friends and try and spread the word, then we can hopefully evolve together, because we get more people to be on the same King Arthur journey with us. So I'm excited to get as many people on that journey as we possibly can. So like I said, the theme for this month is to go for it. And the question I just asked you all was, what is stopping you from going for it? So let's see what people have been saying. So some people have been saying shyness, fear, wanting to not care about what other people feel or judge, like what other people are judging you by. And they're talking about that being like the fool card, going back to being the fool, that innocent fool, that child, which is a perfect way for all of us to be right now. Less distractions. So somebody's just got the age of light. You've been training for this your whole lifetime. Yeah, that's very much the energy right now, because they've just pulled a card. This is not the lifetime to stay hidden. Yeah, that's very much the imposter syndrome message that we've got today. People have been feeling shaky, fried, experience more doubts. I can't even say that, existential thoughts, if that counts, and lots of deja vu kind of sensations. Yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on. And I think the fear, letting go of the fear and not caring who we are right now sounds like what we need to do. Oh, and somebody else, Judy just said she's had exactly the same elastic band sensation. Yeah, so you're saying part of yourself that you never met wants to introduce herself. It is, I got that as well, but the elastic band bit is the bit that's coming off. So tune into that, because when I talk later, I've been giggling to myself when I've worked out this analogy. So you'll probably all be bored with it, but I'm kind of like, I can't wait to share this with you. So the preparation that we've had this month that's really important is really about what we have in our toolkit to help us connect to this new part of us that's emerging right now. And it's about connecting to your heart and the whispers of your soul. And more importantly, your ability to sense energies is going to be critical this month if we're going to want to come out the other side renewed. The outlook is that you can have everything you need. Once this happens, you can have everything you need to easily deliver what you're here to do when you're aligned with your true soul calling. The challenge is how you're going to work with your mind. It's actually your mind that's blocking us this month, and our thoughts. And that's kind of what leads to imposter syndrome, if you think about it. That's your internal chatterbox that keeps telling you don't, can't, fear, mustn't do this, anything that's holding you back. The strength that we have is that whilst your mind is holding you back, you also have control of your mind, that you can basically create your future as you wish. You can change your thought in any moment, in any time. And we're going to talk about the advice, which is about discerning your truth of who you are and what you're here to do. So again, you can see this is the stepping into the leadership of who you're meant to be. And the next steps is all about us becoming a kangaroo, which I thought was quite nice, but I'll explain all of this in a moment. I'll just give you a quick highlights. So if we wanted to go for it and take action, which are basically the last 2 months, this energy is very masculine, get up and do something type energy, then how do you get over the fear? How do you get over the shyness and the part of you that you're feeling you don't want to show to the world? Are you finding distractions and looking in other directions and noticing all the things that are failing in your life rather than just going for what you think you can get without worrying that there's going to be things pulling you back instead? And if we can get to the point where, I'm not saying we've got to ignore what's happening in the world right now, but we do have to see the world in a slightly more, I know this sounds bad, grateful way, which is actually what the kangaroo represents, is being able to be grateful for what we do have, to use that as the stepping stone to get to what we do want, rather than constantly letting the past pull us back into the fear and the scarcity that it's trying to force on us. So as I said, the Capricorn full moon has been all about us learning about who we can be, but also what we're here to do, but also what blocks us from being light and kind of more in flow with life when it comes to who we are and our kingdom's work. So with the kingdom's work, it's what I call your soul's great vision, is this ability to tap into a higher dimension and find something that the planet hasn't already got to create. And you can think of that as your kingdom's work, like the thing you came here onto the planet at this time to do at this precise moment. Because this is when the soul is learning how to walk in a human body, to deal with all the emotions, to balance them, to use it as its GPS, so that it can walk up the mountain to feel itself as divine and human at the same time. And you can either do this as a mountain goat, struggling, carrying a heavy load, as a sea goat, where your personality and soul start working together, or you can do it as the unicorn, which is this more magical being, this lightness. The unicorn kind of knows how to just be. It walks lightly, it's instinctive, just like a plant knows how to reach the light, just like a caterpillar knows how to change into a butterfly. It's that instinct that we all have within ourselves and our being that's being woken up by all these solar flares that will help us this month, is to just accept it, to believe that this is what we can do and how we can be. And we've got to kind of question ourselves, like, what are the chances that we're all here at this time? Is it random or was it designed? Is this designed so that people like us can pull together and do something great? Were we the big hitters of the universe that said, at this point in time, we need to be on Earth. We're not going to hide all of your skill sets until this time on Earth. And then we're going to break you open so that you can then go and create change and create a new Earth for everyone. So if that's the case, then when we came to this planet, we didn't only come here to experience challenges, we came with solutions, but they're kind of hidden inside us. And we need to unleash this version inside us so that we can finally carry out our mission. So I don't know if that makes sense, if that connects with you guys. Let's check in the comments. Yeah, it does feel like there's more of this feeling of things were designed right now. Now, the preparation that we've had is that we've been waiting a lifetime to do what we're about to do now, and it's been hidden. And it's not what you're expecting. It's going to be futuristic. It's going to be out of the box. It's going to be something that's never been on Earth before. Now, if we can't see that what we're doing is something bigger than just ourselves, then we're not in the right job or the right thing that we're meant to be doing. And that we're really aiming right now for something that's going to help humanity, not just our personal situation. The thing is, nobody knows what this is. This is the interesting thing about this. Nobody knows what it is, because if it was known, it'd be already in place. So how do we navigate something that's not known? How do we access the information to create our kingdom's work, our soul's great vision on something we don't know yet? Well, to do this, we're going to have to learn a complete new way to navigate life. And it's not going to be as a linear straight line. And this is where our ability to read energy is going to be a key part of our life and our vision for success. So reading energy, we can all do. Some people can do it better than others, but the important thing to know is it's a learnable skill. And when you're working with the unknown, it is the only skill that can help you. And it's really kind of funny in a way that my experiences, my lived experiences, were my job before this was data migration projects. And I can tell you that was one of the most chaotic unknowns you could ever have. It was kind of like taking one shape and making it another shape when you didn't even know the other shape was going to be. And the dance that I chose to teach was one of the dances where there was no structure. So it's almost like those two experiences have really prepared me for how to navigate the unknown and chaos in a way, which is exactly where we find ourselves. And what I've discovered in both of those life experiences was that you can't be a perfectionist anymore. You have to learn now how to take one step at a time and be ready to pivot really quickly and easily. And not everyone can do this. Now, it can seem like nothing's happening at times, but really it's all happening underneath and you just can't see it. And this is what I kind of try and train people to do, this approach. And I call it a spiral approach because it's one not based on logic at all, because our minds are not able to cater for this kind of approach easily. It's more based on heart intelligence, soul wisdom, divine intelligence, and intuition. And this is the new way we have to be now. This isn't just like, oh, we have to be this to be healers, or we have to be this to learn new healing modalities. This is how every human has to now operate. And that's why I call it the quantum human way. So you can start learning some of these skills by learning how to use your oracle cards, a self-reflection, starting to learn how to use body testing to get expansive answers to questions. And body testing is just where it's also called sway testing, where you stand with your feet hip distance apart and allow your body to tip forward for a yes and back for a no. And it kind of comes from the heart, not lower down in the body. So it's kind of like a way to communicate directly with the heart. I'm not sure if I've got a video on that, but I will do one day. So there's an art to learning this, but it's also about asking the right questions. When you learn how to ask the right questions, these tools become extremely powerful, even for the logical people of the world. It's what I've always used to help me get through the unknown. So we use it to get past the logical mind. And as I said, the mind is the block. So this is why it's important that we master it this month. And I think out of everything I've ever used to make decisions, including my intelligence and my logic, body testing has given me the most peaceful solutions and the best way to understand the world better. And this is why I teach it as a way to fill the gaps when intellectual reasoning and logic are not doing what they should for us. Because if you think about it, our mind only really works in a way that keeps us within what our mind knows, which is limited ideas, limited constraints, and whatever the world narratives are at the time, which could very well be illusions. Whereas when you start sensing energies, what you're doing is you're starting to move into the unknown, accessing information that isn't easily available, and getting new insights and seeing the world in a completely different way. So some of us already know how to do this. So if you guys want to kind of put something in the comments that tells us what benefit this has given you, and then I'll share them with people in a moment. So what would you say if you were going to tell somebody about body testing and oracle cards and the way you're navigating life right now? What would be the one thing or the one benefit that you have received from that? Somebody just said too many to mention. That's the benefit. Too many benefits to mention. Cool. So yeah, basically more trust in your decision-making process, less overthinking, less ambiguousness. Cool. So that gives others, that's not my words, that's what others have learned through learning this technique. And it doesn't actually take long to learn. Validates intuition when in doubt, getting on your life path. So that's all some nice other descriptions to give you guys a clue of what this could feel like. So I am going to be doing some workshops on this technique using like different problem areas and then set up workshops for that. So if you're interested in any of that, then just message me on whitestarsoulguidance@gmail.com and I can put you on the wait list for that. Yeah, easier guidance, easier navigation of life. Cool. Thank you, guys. So what does a spiritual spiral journey look like? Well, it kind of goes that you can't have what you want unless you are of a certain level. So if you think about it, you learn a little about who you are, your true essence. This kind of reveals to you your soul's great vision, which pushes you to move out of your comfort zone, which means you grow, which means you then change who you are, or at least your understanding of who you are, which then feeds back into your soul vision changing. So you can see that as you go around each iteration, you learn who you are. Your soul vision is kind of created off of that level of who you are. You're then encouraged to step out of your comfort zone. That then impacts you because you grow from stepping out of your comfort zone. And as you grow, the next level of your vision comes in line. So hopefully that makes sense, yeah? Sorry, my cat is shouting at me. I hope you can't hear him. So with that spiral approach, you can see that it's not a linear process. You're not going to say, I start here and I end here. You're going to just only know one step at a time. And as you go around this one step at a time, you're going to have to reassess and change and pivot at that moment before moving into the next thing. And this is why the dancing was so relevant for me, because the partner dancing I did, which was led, could go in any direction at any time. And each step I took had to be done in such a way that I could turn around on myself or be pivoted or go forward and then go backwards. And that's the kind of approach that we're trying to cultivate and master as our like normal state of being. And it's really important that it becomes a state. So this isn't something where now we go on workshops or we go and say, I meditate 3 times a day to get insights. What we're starting to do now is saying that this is how we have to be every moment of the day. This is who we are naturally, that you could be washing the dishes, getting insights, that you can be taking the children to school and you're getting insights and downloads, and you're listening, you're open, you're paying attention, you're responding, because it's very easy sometimes to get the insights, but then taking action on it can be a bit more difficult. So we have to learn then to take it from what we've received and then learn how to form it into reality. So when you think of that approach, how many of you think you could use that in your life? And like a lot of us like the linear orgasm of going through A, B, C, D, E and getting to the end. But how many of you guys think you could actually do that approach, this spiral approach? And how many feel that you're more aligned with the linear approach? Cool. So now some people say spiral. Cool. Spiral. Yeah. So it's interesting that, you know, we're kind of, if you think about the way we're schooled, we're kind of encouraged to go through this process of growth. You know, you start here and you end here. And it's almost like you have to know what the end is before you even start. But the thing is, in the chaotic times we're in, we're never going to know what that end is. We're going to try, like, this is what the unknown is about. We don't know what that end is. So does that mean then we have to sit and not take action? Or is there a strategy where we can find the art of taking action even before we're ready, even before we know where we're going? And that's what this body testing and oracle cards and the spiral approach allows. So in my groups, we've been working on this a while. So it's proving to us that it's working because, sometimes it feels like we really are going nowhere. And then suddenly it all clicks together and it's like, oh, that's what that meant. So having that ability to actually not know where you're going or what the end game is and only know what the next step is the important part of that. So I don't know how many of you are comfortable in that kind of arrangement, because the people that I tend to work with are not, because they tend to be perfectionists. And that's okay, because we're perfectionists because life was probably quite difficult as a child, which left us needing this layer around us that we were in control in order for us to feel safe on this planet. However, when we take this other approach of energy sensing using oracle cards, what happens is we don't need those layers anymore. It completely liberates us. And this is why I was talking about transformation earlier. I think transformation is more a experience of liberation than it is transformation. So think about that for a minute. So rather than me saying, I'm going to help you transform, I like to think that I'm here to help you, to liberate you, to be yourself. And I find that approach is more powerful than trying to make you change, because you are already, you know how to do this already. You know how to sense energy. You know what you're here to do. It's just that life, maybe this lifetime, maybe past lifetimes, have put layers on you. So you can imagine that you're this little bubble in the middle, like one of those Russian dolls, and another doll gets put on the outside, and another doll gets put on the outside, and another doll gets put on the outside. Do I have to transform you back into the doll in the center? Or do I just need to take the other dolls off to liberate you? And that's what the spiral approach is kind of allowing us to explore. So we don't necessarily remember what's hidden in the center. So that's the unknown. We don't know what we're here to do necessarily. So if with this kind of approach, you can see it's a powerful tool for life. And it does take a little while to learn, but it's not impossible. And it allows us to play with the world in a much bigger way. It allows us to go into more areas, take more risks, be more ready to fail and make mistakes, because we've got this ability to body test where we're meant to go and when we're meant to be there. So this ability to read energy is going to be really important this month. And I think it's because we're going to get a lot more energetic downloads that are going to be available for us to listen to guide us to this liberation that I'm talking about at the moment. That's what we got. Yeah, okay. Judy's made a good point. She said that she's been doing spiral for 30 years. And it's not necessarily hard. It's not hard for me either. But it's hard when you're doing it on your own, as very few understand it. So it can be wearing. So yeah, the interesting thing is when I introduced the spiral approach to my data migration project, they all freaked out. And that's just the project management technique. They all freaked out. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody could understand it. And I thought, wow, why is everybody responding like this? Because we don't know. Nobody's designed what we're moving data to yet. So why is everybody freaking out? So yeah, I noticed there's quite a lot of resistance to that. And that's why I think it comes to that kind of linear orgasm. Our brains, remember I said the brain is the block at the moment. Our brains prefer a linear approach to life. And I think maybe some of the recalibration with these solar flares is going to rework the neural pathways in our heads to allow us to perhaps allow it to be more of a spiral and more free, more liquid, more fluid in the way we think and the way we approach life, maybe. So yeah, I think, and well, I'm hoping that's what we're going to start seeing with people. That's the way it feels to me anyway. But yeah, the spiral approach is super important right now. So obviously I can't go into a lot of depth as to what this approach is. It's easier to do than it is to explain. And it's more of a reprogramming your brain in order to behave a different way. And we all know it takes about 60 days to reprogram our brain to do something that it isn't used to doing. But once you can get through that process, as I say, I think the Lion Gateway is going to bring in a lot more insights that we can then start listening to and using. And it does take a certain amount of trust, because as logical people, we can tend to easily we can tend to easily kind of dismiss our feelings. And again, this could be to childhood trauma where nobody validated our feelings, but we can easily ignore those feelings and start doubting ourselves, when in reality, we have a lot of information available deep inside us that can actually guide us through life in a much better way. Okay, so let me just get some water again. Sorry, I'm slow today. Oh. So, where were we? Lost my place. So that's the preparation of where we're at. And I do a lot of work with this in my membership. We kind of do it as a lived experience rather than trying to teach it as a course. We just remind ourselves to use it at every time people ask questions. We just make sure that we use our oracle cards and body testing to do it. So the outlook for this month, if you remember from last month, I spoke about the 4 gifts of Dana. And what these 4 gifts represented for me was an archetype of what we could be if we were if we operate like the unicorn based on instinct only, then we would be more sovereign. We would have easier access to abundance. We'd be able to use the spear of Phineas to protect our kingdom's work. And we'd also be able to kind of use the sword of Excalibur as our truth. That's our kind of body testing guiding us on our journey. So I kind of emphasized that that was possible, or at least more possible after the Lion's Gateway. So we've been learning to work with the Spear of Phineas particularly, but I think we're going to be learning the other tools as we go. And the reason I say it's kind of related to the solar flares and the God instincts and the God particles that are coming in is because, just like I mentioned earlier, just like a plant knows to reach the flower, this is an instinct. It's not something to learn. It's not something to take a course on. It's about knowing that your body has been built as a perfect machine that can do these things naturally. And we're trying to let them out so that you can flow through life in a much easier way. So if that's the outlook, then you can see how that's not really based on logic. It's much more to do with intuition and flow and following our heart. So I think I'm gonna have to cough. So the challenge this month, I think I'm losing my voice. I'm just trying to get it back. So the challenge this month is going to be your mind, like I said. So if we want to be able to step into our kingdom's work, this non-selfish, but also not selfless, which is an interesting combination itself, where we are not here to say, well, I want money, I want a car, I want a big house, but where we see ourselves more as, I'm here to, yes, look after myself, but also to help make the world a better place for everyone, then we can see how that already is what I would call harmless manifesting. When we start stepping out of our own personality needs and wants and start fixing them and looking at the bigger picture at the same time. And the challenge is that programming is in our mind. So we want to be able to release our mind of any unhealthy views of life, any narratives that are low vibration. And we wanted to be able to develop a healthy connection between mind and heart. And when the two work together, that's when we're going to be able to see this slightly bigger kingdom's work that we're here to do. So think about releasing your mind from any past trauma and narratives, any perceived limitations. That's what we're going to be working on this month. And then we're going to want to obviously rewrite a high vibrational narrative to replace it with, to give us more mental clarity. And despite us wanting to know the end game, know that we're wired to know that, that's just what we're going to be like, changing the brain particles to stop it doing that. Know that we're going to just focus on one step at a time. So to get past the tricks of the brain, let's intend to kind of using our mind to reprogram our mind. So just tune into your brain right now And just intend now to delete those negative thoughts. So the fear, the doubt, all you guys wrote in the comments when I asked you the question we started with, just intend now to remove those from your life, or from your mind, from your body, and from your energy system. And this is kind of how we've been using the spear of Phineas. We found that when we've got our God instinct working, that natural instinct in our body, we were kind of like popping it with the spear of Phineas. Any thoughts that were coming up that no longer served us, we would just imagine them just being popped. And that instinctual kind of easy, unicorn, flowing kind of way of releasing ourselves from all the chains that we've been burying ourselves behind. So just intend to delete any negative thoughts from your mind, your body, and your energy system. And the strength that we have this month is that you can choose what you think. So every thought you think creates your future. So if we're not thinking those negative things, what can we think instead? Because when we think whatever we think, good or bad, the universe will support us in our choices. So now instead, using our strength, let's ask divine intelligence to install a new thought or feeling of safety, maybe clarity, balance, harmony, peace, and gratitude. Let's install, I have unlimited choices about what I think. Let's install, I instinctively know what to do and when. And most importantly, like was mentioned earlier about becoming the fool in the tarot cards, let's install the lightness, the playfulness of a child, that approach where they're easy come, easy go, trial and error, sacred play, as we learn how to build this kingdom's work and us and who we're meant to be in this spiral kind of way. How does that feel? And again, know that one of the reasons it's so easy at the moment is because of the energies of Lionsgate, the Capricorn full moon, and the general place we are at ascension right now. Much better. Cool. And who's to say, I've noticed a couple of things that I've done this last month that I just intended it before I went to bed. And when I woke up the next day, it seemed to have begun. So not so much viruses, but just thoughts. So really do practice and play with that over this month as well. So the advice this month is to tune into your temple of truth. And that's going to be in the throat chakra area. And start raising your voice as to who you are. Like really claim it, shout it from the treetops about who you were, who you are, and who you're becoming. Because truth will heal. Truth will heal that initial hurt that has caused you to close down, that caused you to put all those doll shells all around you. Honor your truth. Everything that you've had in your life was probably a clue to what your kingdom's work is anyway. So your true identity is not what others have made you. There's not all those layers of those dolls that you've put on. So raise your voice about who you really are. Somebody said they released so many thoughts, they left as bubbles. Cool. So the advice this month is to focus on as much self-expression, whether you want to turn to art or whether you want to have complex conversations or difficult conversations with people, but self-expression and speaking your authentic truth. And this also is going to be one of the clues to helping us remove imposter syndrome. So once we've mastered the brain and what the brain's up to it right now and letting it communicate with the heart and releasing some of that negative stuff, then also thinking about how speaking our truth, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror every morning, will also start helping this imposter syndrome. So when we come to speaking our truth, it is about courage and fearlessness, because we have to ask some really difficult questions when we want to be ourselves. We know that people are going to resist that process. So just find the love in your heart when you're doing that to make it a little easier for you to find the space. And, at the end of the day, we can't control the response of other people, but we can at least feel more of ourselves in what we're doing. And then use your body testing and your cards to help you find the words to speak. And often we find that when we speak our truth of who we are, it's like people who desperately want to be loved cannot be loved easily because they have trauma over love, because that's why they desperately want to be loved. And they put their heart in a cage. The problem is the people who also want to love think you're not available for love because they just see the cage around your heart. So unless you're willing to take that cage off and be authentic about it, then how are you going to attract the people, the situations, the jobs, the adventures that you want to go on, unless you are authentically who you're meant to be? And often when we speak our truth also, we find that we can get out of the analysis paralysis, when you're talking to somebody, you don't know what their intentions are. The more authentic we are, then the more quickly we uncover what other people are thinking and doing. So it's going to be about engaging with other people and situations authentically. Because if you don't, you're not going to know what could have been. And then finally, back to the kangaroos, the next steps. So this is about trying to see the good in everything at the moment, embracing generosity, abundance, and gratitude, and just celebrating the steps that you guys have all taken to get this far this last few years. It's a huge mountain that we've been climbing. And it's everything that you've been through is a gift in some form, because it's the thing that's going to help you break down the doors to who you want to be and what we're going to do. So try to let go of any resentment or any energy that you've still got attached to things that didn't work out the way you thought they should. And instead focus on what you have got and start building with those tools instead. Also, a couple of months ago, we spoke about the Gaia Gateway opening up. So we have more access to Earth's abundance. So connect to Gaia and connect to her energy of abundance. I think I saw a post, I don't know how real this was, but it said that they're noticing in some areas that the extra CO2, the gases that we're trying to reduce, has encouraged more growth of plants in some areas. So again, it's phases. We don't know how the phases are interacting. We don't know what the end game is. We can only do what we feel is right in the moment. But do connect then with Mother Earth and see what she has to offer you, whether it be insights or gifts or a deeper understanding of us, because we're made up of the planet. We come from all the particles of the planet. So let's reconnect back to that intelligence and use that as well. Cool. And well, so far I've managed to quench each cough as it's come up, so we're doing okay. Right, so my exciting bit, the bit I've been waiting for. So I mentioned imposter syndrome. So I've heard one person say that, why are we calling it imposter syndrome? It's not a syndrome, it's not an illness to want to be like, because we use imposter syndrome when, say you go up and do a talk on a topic and you feel like you're not qualified to do that talk, therefore you feel like an imposter. So why is that feeling like an imposter? It shouldn't be a syndrome. But the way he showed to me the other day is that we do suffer from imposter syndrome. But the imposter isn't who we think it is. The imposter is those layers that we've put around us from the doll inside. Now, if you think about this, that the imposter is basically you right now. You are the imposter that is sitting here watching this now. Because the true you, the authentic you, is the one inside. So when we talk about imposter syndrome, thinking about going to this bigger version of you, that bigger version of you is the imposter, actually, you are the imposter, trapping that bigger version of you from becoming. So that was the big revelation that I had this month. And, and this is where my analogy comes in. So it's quite innocent, but I just thought it was really funny. Beauty and the Beast. That summed it up for me when I was trying to explain this to myself and thinking, how am I going to explain this to everybody? So if you think about Beauty and the Beast, so the Beast is there living in this castle all on his own, and his life is basically around being a beast. Yeah. He then meets Belle, and she's beautiful, and he falls in love, but he now feels like an imposter, like, how can she love me? Yeah. He feels unworthy of her love, but he was a prince. Originally, he was a prince. So he then goes through, we could call it a transformation, but we know it's a liberation. When the spell is removed, he is then liberated back to being the prince. So that then shows that really it was the beast that was the imposter, because that was the spell that was put on him to make him look like a beast, to fool people into thinking that he wasn't what he was. And then when that spell was broken, which was through love, then that magical moment in the Disney movies is that big flash of light. Like there's lots of people talking about the big flash at the moment, and the solar flares, that big flash of light, and he emerges out of this cocoon into his prince self. Yay, I got a good analogy. So when I spoke earlier about that elastic band thing, what I think was pulling away was one of those layers around me was a false identity or a false imposter, not as in a spiritual kind of walk-in way, but as in an identity that was somehow spell cast onto me that now needs to be let go of with all of the energies of the Lion Gateway. So what do you think? Are we all ready to become like the beast and let go of that character that has been making us live life in a very, very specific way, and instead allow what is naturally inside all of us just to awaken and to just be liberated, I guess. And this is why I was saying about transformation versus liberation. My whole approach now when I'm doing one-to-one with clients is liberation rather than transformation, because I'm finding people are quite natural at this stuff and being themselves and doing amazing things once they're liberated. And in fact, they can teach me a few things. So does that make sense? Everybody, please? Beauty and the Beast. We end with Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. I hope everybody knows what Beauty and the Beast story is anyway. So yeah, so think about that. That's what the Lion Gate is bringing in. That's what I'm expecting. I'm kind of excited but nervous, like what if it doesn't work? But I'm trying to pop those with my thoughts. Yeah. I'm going to talk to you about that later, Marta. So so this kind of Lion Gateway, I feel, is the energy for that to happen. And because we're talking about the instinct of God, and because we're talking about it being only our mind blocking it, then I'm feeling that this might be easier, easier than we might think. That energetically we've been supported much more. And yeah, Judy's saying spot on. So Judy's got if I've got a yes from Judy, then I know we're on the right ballpark. So that is that. So that elastic band thing that you spoke about, that bit that I felt was stretching off was that expansion of the bad thing to go away so that we could become more of our authentic self. And when we become that authentic self, then we're really going to step into our kingdom's work. Our soul's great vision is going to be easier for us to navigate with those tools of Dharna, with our mind much more in alignment with our heart and our energy sensing skills to navigate us. Then that sounds like the perfect set of ingredients for this month. So your mantra for this month is really, I release the imposter that has kept my true identity hidden and step up as co-creator of a new way of being, where I am doing my kingdom's work to create heaven on earth. So I say that again. I release the imposter that has kept me and my true identity hidden and step up as co-creator of a new way of being, where I am doing my kingdom's work to create heaven on earth. Cool. So we know that body testing is one of the key things I've spoken about tonight. If you've just joined me, then make sure you go back and listen to some of that. And it's going to help us navigate the unknown. It's going to help us work out the truth behind words and actions that we can't make sense of normally through logic and reason. It's going to help us make the decisions that are more in alignment with who we're becoming and this kingdom's work. And it's going to also, if we combine it with oracle cards, it's going to start giving us like extra information to help us stretch and stretch so big that we can burst this imposter bubble. So that we can finally become block free and liberated to do our kingdom's work. So yeah, so the imposter syndrome is you guys are the imposters already, and all you need to do is kick that imposter out, and then what's left is the true you. So hopefully I've given you quite a few insights today to help you step nearer your quantum human blueprint and help you think about ways you can burn away these layers of imposter identities that have kept you hidden inside. And remember, like I said, just like a caterpillar knows it's time to go into the cocoon. I think we've been in the cocoon really since about May. I was speaking about butterflies and cocoons. We've been in the cocoon since then. And you can think of that kind of like the Beauty and the Beast is the same as the butterfly coming out of the cocoon too. Well, just as a butterfly knows, or a caterpillar knows, it's time to convert into a butterfly, August is the month for us to do it too. Now, if you're a bit slower than the rest of us, don't worry, you're going to have your time is going to catch up. But for those that are ready, it's there and available to you now. Like I said, I can show you the pathways and doorways, but you have to choose if you're ready to walk through them or not. And know that this transformation or this liberation is in your DNA and in your cells, and that these solar flares are activating it. So take time to rest and allow these lion gate energies to allow you to become. So how do you feel now knowing all these energies this month? So next time we'll get back together is the 26th of August. Hopefully this will be better by then and I'll have more voice. But do hit the bell to be notified and subscribe. And like I said, shared with friends. Anybody might find this useful. So I'm sorry I was a bit all over the place starting because I've had COVID and I'm just getting myself together. But I wanted to share this because before the Lion Gateway, because I thought it was really important that people got this information so they knew what to tune into for the next month. And if any of you guys need help on this journey of liberation, then get in touch and we can talk about whether my programs and what I do is a good fit for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm hoping to build my own little group of people who are all liberated and free doing their kingdom's work, so we can all work together and build a community where we have the skills, because each person's unique. So when we work out what that uniqueness is, it puts us in the right place for us all to work together in a true unity consciousness and collaborative way. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone now. If anybody's got no questions, and and I carry on the conversation in a think tank after this. But if you ever want to join me for that, just email me. My voice is going on whitestarsoulguidance@gmail.com. And that's the extended experience. So people on Zoom stay with me now so I can chat to them. And for everybody else, just remember, this is the month just to go for it and to think up big dreams and to liberate yourself to just be who you want to be and just to enjoy the freedom and the expansion that will bring, no matter the chaos that is around us. So just go for it is my final words. So thank you everybody on YouTube for sharing your conversation with me. And I'll see you again on the 26th of August. Bye, guys.